I am 20, but my parents divorced 10 years ago, and my dad remarried to Lauren less than a year later. Lauren already had a baby, Cora. Lauren was friendly before they married, but after she and my dad got married, she made it clear that she didn't want me in the picture and saw me as an obstacle to her perfect family. They would almost always force me to babysit Cora. Often they would promise I could see my friends or do something, and then I would be forced to cancel last minute because they wanted to go out and needed someone to watch Cora. When they did spend time with Cora, I was almost always excluded. An example was how I was told to check in on my grandma, which I didn't mind as I love her, and help her with chores. I discovered after returning home that my dad, Lauren, and Cora went to an amusement park without me. Lauren claimed she wanted family only on the trip. My dad didn't say anything. This was one of the countless examples of my exclusion, and my dad never stood up for me. At 16, I chose to live with my mom full time and stopped coming to my dad and Lauren's house. Things are going well. I have a job and can stay in the area because my college is online. Not because of the global issue. I chose an online program before any of that happened. A few of my friends and I were out to dinner when we bumped into Jacob, the son of two of my dad's friends. He and his parents were always nice to me, so we spent most of the dinner talking. Jacob brought up that he was sad that he didn't get to see me as often after the courts had forced me away from my dad's home. It turns out my dad and Lauren told people how my evil mother, ridiculous, but also Jacob never met my mom and only knew her from my dad's stories, manipulated the courts and had their custody completely stolen, and that's why I didn't live with them anymore. I told Jacob I chose to leave. I named some of the times I was excluded, how Lauren wanted family-only time without me, and my dad never stood up for me. Jacob was shocked, but we managed to redirect the conversation, and it was still a good night. Jacob told his parents, who told their friend group, including almost all the neighbors, about how my dad and Lauren treated me. So now their friends are excluding my dad and Lauren. They found a new phone to get past me blocking them, and are saying I need to talk about this with them, and we know you're a good daughter and will help end these rumors about your family. Some relatives say I should help them, since Cora's being excluded by her former friends and is extremely upset about it. These relatives say that I'm an adult and Cora's a child, so she should come first. I agree with putting children first. I feel bad for Cora since it isn't her fault, but I still think she's not my responsibility. Am I the idiot? Help end these rumors about your family? You already did that. You ended the rumors about your mom. Lauren and your dad made it clear that you aren't family. It sucks that your stepsister's being excluded, but that's due to their actions, not yours. Notice it's your family when they want something, but not when it's time to go on trips. This is your dad and his wife's problem, not yours. It's not your responsibility how others respond to hearing the truth. They created the narrative they wanted others to hear, and the facts came out. While I feel bad for Cora, it's not your fault or your responsibility to fix the situation. The way those people treated you was atrocious, and I'm glad you cut contact. You deserve so much better. I can guarantee you Cora isn't suffering. That is almost certainly a lie meant to guilt OP. I bet Cora is OP's dad's biological daughter, given his rapid marriage to Lauren after his divorce from OP's mom, and Lauren's insistence on family time without OP. Where were all those concerned relatives when you were excluded and treated like a live-in nanny when you lived with your dad? If a single person who messaged you about this didn't criticize or talk to your dad, they have zero grounds to talk to you now. I, 32 female, have a teen daughter, Jess. Her father, my husband, died in an accident when she was young, so it's been just the two of us for a long time. As a result, we're very close, and she's a lot more open to me than most kids are with. She was extremely overbearing with them. She was the kind of mom who believed kids should have no privacy and she should run their lives until they were adults. I know she had many arguments with them because she would take away their doors, not let them hang out with friends, and search through their phones every night, etc. This was the primary reason for her divorce, although she won't admit that. While I love her, as someone who grew up with very little privacy, I fully understand why her kids don't want to live with her. My daughter came up in conversation and so brought up her first date. When I explained how it went, my sister laughed and told me I must be joking. When she realized I was serious, she told me I was a terrible mother for letting my daughter walk all over me and not setting boundaries. She ran it on for a while, but she basically said that teens are incapable of going out themselves and that I was being lazy and neglectful by allowing her to do that. She also said I would never allow my kids to do that. So I replied by saying, "That's exactly why your kids live with their dad." She got very quiet and then told me to leave. When I got home, I started thinking more about what I said. And while I thought I was telling her what she needed to hear, now I'm wondering if I crossed the line. Not the idiot. Your sister thinks holding boundaries is the same thing as making demands, and she'll eventually learn that her children aren't accessories to treat as she wishes without consequence. She was only upset by what you said because deep down she knows it's the truth and doesn't want to admit it to herself or anyone else. Yeah, she knows it's true, so she's mad over it. But wait, did you say she took away doors to monitor her kids at all times? Like off the hinges and everything? I'm sorry I laughed a little, only because that sounds comical or straight out of a cartoon. She sounds absolutely ridiculous, and I'm glad the kids are with the dad. She should be the last to talk about anyone else's parenting when she's pushed her kids because of her bitterness. Yep, as a punishment, or even if she thought they were up to suspicious behavior, she'd unscrew the doors and put them in the garage. Sometimes she'd even lock off their room and make them sleep in the living room. Of course, she wouldn't listen to anyone about it either. And apparently, the only way to make them make the right choices was not to let them make any choices. I'm amazed her kids didn't go insane. So, why are you in contact with her? You do know your sister is an abuser, right? I really hope you don't ever let her anywhere near your kid. My wife, Laura, and I struggled to have children. Finally, after 2 years, my wife got pregnant. Unfortunately, there were complications and we lost our baby. We had named her Evelyn and had made so many plans. It was hard on us, but we managed to get through it. Now we have a daughter, Amy, and a son. Amy has a fiance, Max, and is 7 months pregnant. Last month they were over to see us and announced the name they chose. It was Evelyn, E for clarity. My wife and I tried to hide our shock and not ruin the mood, but Amy had noticed we didn't seem happy. So afterward, we explained about Evelyn and that naming the baby Eve would hurt. Amy hadn't heard about her before and was shocked and sympathetic. Finally, however, they told us that they're sorry, but they don't think they should change it. We weren't happy, but I would accept it. But then Amy said it was fate, and our granddaughter could be the girl we didn't have, and that it would be a tribute and give new meaning to the name and stuff. But that's not how it works. Children just can't be replaced. So I admit I perhaps overreacted, but I snapped back and said that Evelyn couldn't just be replaced like that. While she wasn't born, she was real, not some title that can be rebranded, and that while she can name Eve what she wants, it's not some beautiful act for her unborn sister. Max got angry and we argued. He said that it's their choice and we should suck it up. And I agreed, but says that doesn't mean we can't be hurt by it and that it's cruel to act like I should be happy. It didn't go well and Laura asked them to leave us just to process it. I still don't like them naming their daughter Eve and I want them to change it, but obviously I can't make them. So Amy and I managed to kind of make up and mostly avoid the issue. However, Max and Laura have dug in. Max doesn't want her involved with Eve if she can't both accept their decision. Laura thinks they're being cruel and must change the name, or else she won't be involved. I've tried just staying out of it and being there for Amy. However, Max constantly makes remarks and reminders, making it clear it's their decision, and Laura and I need to butt out. It seems the fighting got to Amy, and she wants to name Eve something else. Max came to us last night and was furious. He called us manipulative and controlling, and it's disgusting for us to force Amy not to name her daughter what she wanted. It didn't end well, and Max eventually left and hates us now. Amy isn't happy and feels even more conflicted. I basically told her to do what she feels is right. I'll support Amy's decision, but honestly, I agree with Laura. But it's ruining everything, and I'm starting to think we never should have said anything. I'm going with you are the idiot, and so is your wife. I can't believe you never told your kids they had a sister. And when your daughter says, great, the name I picked out will have meaning for the family, you get mad at her? It's not Amy's fault you and your wife never dealt adequately with losing your child, and yet you're taking it out on her and her choice. Your wife will have what she wished. You're not going to let her anywhere near the kid once she's born. Exactly. They can't get mad at her when she never knew Evelyn existed. And then there's the fact that people name children after deceased family members all the time as a tribute. The problem is OP and his wife's to fix, not Amy's. I'm going with not the idiot, because from the explanation, OP isn't angry about the name and has accepted it. What they're upset about is that their daughter said that this is fate and is a replacement for the child you lost, which is very ignorant and upsetting to parents who have lost so much. Not the idiot. I am surprised by how harsh people are being. How OP and his wife deal with the loss of Eve is their own business, even not telling any future kids. Many people never recover from such trauma, but they learn to live and go on and still be good parents to future children. Once Amy learned that naming her child Eve would be traumatic for her parents, she could have considered a new name. I would do the same for my parents. If it was a choice between keeping a name I liked, as opposed to possible years of reliving painful memories whenever they saw my child, it would be a no-brainer for me. I would change the name. I'm prefacing this by saying I, female 30, always struggled with self-esteem. I'm an introvert, anxious, socially awkward person, which makes it worse. I got introduced to makeup during my late 20s, and it's now become both a source of income and a source of self-confidence and esteem. My now husband always teased me about it, mind you. He's a jokester and is a bit on the sarcastic, brutally honest side. I didn't have an issue as long as it was done privately, meaning private teasing. At our wedding, I went a bit out of the box regarding makeup, but it looked matching and fitting. However, my husband didn't stop commenting on it during the wedding. I was beginning to get annoyed, but when it was time for the groom's speech, he looked at me and then said, "And my wife here, who looks like a department store mannequin with that makeup on her face." I was dumbfounded. Guests started laughing at me loosely. I felt so much rage I didn't know how to contain it. I waited till his parents were around. Then I went off on him about what he said. He said it was a joke and I took it too personally. I argued with him about how I felt regarding his teasing in public, but he insisted I blew this out of proportion and ruined the atmosphere for the wedding, as well as humiliated him in front of his parents when I scolded him like he was a kid. He sulked about it for 3 days, then told me that I needed to apologize for this negative vibe I brought upon him and for reacting insanely over a joke. I wonder if I overreacted here. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. And brace yourself for a lifetime of this BS. It'll always be him kicking you and then getting all hurt when you yelp. It always amazes me when people see the red flags for years and still decide to get married. OMG, he has the emotional intelligence of a soggy cloth. Making fun of his new bride in front of all her friends and family is just peak stupidity, as well as being cruel. I would feel so awkward as a guest at this wedding. Even if you didn't have self-esteem issues and anxiety, that would have been a dumb move. And then he accuses her of bringing the negative vibes to the wedding? What even? Why would you want to stay married to someone that announced to all of your friends and family that he doesn't like the way you choose to present yourself to the world? He said I took it too personally. It was literally a comment about your personal appearance. How are you not meant to take that personally? And I say comment and not joke, because I don't understand what's meant to be the funny bit, unless the idea of suggesting that you look ridiculous at your own wedding and encouraging a room full of people to laugh at your expense is somehow amusing to this cretin you've married. I would get that marriage annulled. I've 30 male, been married to my wife Clara, 22, for 2 years, and we were together for some time before that. I've always known that she's obsessed with Taylor Swift, her favorite singer, and she's always playing her songs everywhere. making Swift-themed artwork, and jotting down her lyrics, etc., etc. I always thought of it as a fun, childish thing she indulges in. But recently, she's been buying stupid things since she started working a full-time corporate job. And yesterday, I saw her browsing expensive lyric printed stuff on Etsy. I asked her if she was looking to draw inspiration for her next DIY stuff, but she said she was planning to buy them now that she could finally afford to. I laughed at her because I don't think there's any point in spending one's hard-earned money on frivolous things like that. I explained that she'd grow out of her interest in this soon, and I also added that I've always been surprised that she likes Taylor Swift, since it's such a white teenager girl thing to do. She's black, but it's a whole level of absurd now. She told me it's not a big deal, and that one's skin color doesn't have anything to do with their music preference. Then she suddenly turned the conversation to how I was demeaning her and her interest in being racist. I think that's a huge over-the-top reaction for a single comment I made, and everything I said came from a good place. I want her to learn how to be mindful of one's expenses, and as her husband, I do get to object if our hard-earned money is spent on a rich multimillionaire woman. She told me I'm making an unnecessary fuss, and she can treat herself to frivolous things once in a while, as long as it doesn't hurt our family finances. I told her it was embarrassing how she acted like a pop-obsessed white teen girl as a grown woman with a job and a husband. I firmly informed her that if she still had this interest in 5 years, she can buy whatever she wants, but no point right now, especially since she's on a money high with her new job. I also told her that since she should listen to me about these things, and I offered to teach her more about managing money and finances, and I set aside 1 hour per day to teach her these things. Now she accused me of infantilizing her because she works in finance. Now apparently I'm an idiot and mansplaining, all because I didn't let her waste her income. I know she'll be grateful for this some years later because we all grow out of this mindset once the novelty of lucrative jobs wears off. But as of now, she's visibly upset with me about yesterday. So, am I the idiot? Why does this feel like you said more things before she called you out? Also, let the woman enjoy little things. Geez, you are the idiot, OP. Also, if you don't mind me asking, you got married when she was 20 and you 28. So how many years did you date before that? Because clearly she was still a teenager, and now you're using the "I'm grown up, let me teach you" card? Yikes, you are the idiot. Why can't a black woman like Taylor Swift? Why is race a topic in this post? You told her that in 5 years, she could spend her own money on Taylor Swift merch. Who do you think you are? LOL, you sound like a controlling loser. I hope she finds somebody better than you. What the actual heck? I also told her that she should listen to me about these things, and I offered to teach her more about managing money and finances. But she works in finance. He will teach her things and she should listen. OMG, yuck, he's the worst. I hope she'll dodge this bullet and find a man who isn't embarrassed by who she is.